Hello, it's me, Sam. I'm not going to do any meditation this evening, but I'm going to show you my meditation blanket that I sit on. I normally sit on that cushion. The maximum I can meditate up to is half an hour. I normally spend around about 15 minutes with my headphones on, listening to some therapeutic sounds or therapeutic music. So that's how I do my meditation. I'm going to explain about a few things on what I've learned in my Buddhism book. And what's the Buddhism book about? This is the Buddhism book. So I'm going to keep that out. So what have I learned from the book? Well, what can I explain about what I've learned? What do I think about? Well, the first question is, what do I think about when I'm meditating? I think about the places that he travelled to, where Buddha travelled to. I think about the friends that he had. I think about how I feel in my spare time. I'm gonna explain a few things about what I've learned mainly, and how he was brought up, what places he travelled to on a journey. There's also in this book that describes there's a map and who his friends were, and I'm just about to talk to you about it. Well, how did it all start? Well, Buddha was born in a place called Binai, and that was when he was born. He had a mum called Maya. His dad was a king, but from there, when he was younger, he travelled to certain areas of India. One of the places was called Shakya, and the place called Shakya is where his dad lived, and his dad was a king. And as he got older, when he was 28, 29, he left the place. He left the place called Shakya, and he got out of the palace, and he had to travel through 7 kilometres full of crops, and that's nearly 4.5 miles, so nearly 4.5 miles. And he travelled through a lot of crops to see if a gate was going to be locked or unlocked, and one day it was unlocked, and he had to travel through even more crops. But what you don't know, the perimeter of the gates itself was 7 kilometres each way, which was nearly 4.5 miles. He also was a prince. He was also a prince. He became enlightened. But as he got out of Shakya, he had to travel for even more crops. When he got out of Shakya, he decided to travel to a place called Shavestai. He met a person called Bahaya. I'm going to show you the map in a minute. And then, because there was a lot of wars going on in Shavestai, there was a place called Magadha. And Magadha was a peaceful place, and Buddha and his friends set out to a place to go to Magadha. But how did they do it was the question. Well, they decided to go on a boat to travel to Magadha, and they found a peaceful area. In that peaceful area, the Shakyas and Buddha's friends decided to become farmers. So the Shakyans become farmers, and in the end, Buddha found his own ways around the problems. He met a disciple called Tathagata, and Buddha and his friends were striving for knowledge, but Buddha found a better way, and that was by sitting under the tree, becoming enlightened. He also had a friend called Bimbisara, and Bimbisara was a good person at the time when he was young. And then as he got older, he wasn't very nice. He wasn't a nice person. He was given a lot of power. The power controlled him and ruled him, and in the end he invented punishments for certain people, like the monks and used them as slaves, and he invent punishments for them, basically. So in reality, Bimbisara was not a nice person. Bimbisara was a person that was ruled by power, and that power used in the wrong ways, and he wanted to have a nice place called Rajuriya, and he wanted to get his armies to all the certain places in India to get what he wanted when he wanted, and he invented punishments for the monks, and if he didn't use the punishments for the monks, he'd use them as slaves. So that's one thing I've learnt. It's all over a book like this. You've got this Vapanoi, which stands for Bloomfield, but in a different language. So what else can I explain? I know quite a lot. He had a brother called Nanda. He had a sister. He had half brother called Nanda. He had a half sister called Mara. And Buddha ended up in Samsara at the time, if that's what you believe. And he saw his sister called Mara, and Mara wasn't exactly a nice person. In one of the stories that I learned is one day he ended up in hell, and it wasn't a very nice place. And he got out of hell, and he admitted to people one day that if people ended up in hell, they'd be doomed. So he advised people not to go to these certain areas, because if they did, they'd be doomed in hell. So Buddha could advise people, but he couldn't stop them, kind of thing. So I've know a little bit about Buddhism. What else can I say? He died from a meal containing a poisonous mushroom. That was a certain place in India. It is a place called Rajuriya near that area. I'm going to show you a little map, what areas he travelled to. So these dots, so all those black little dots is where he travelled to. So yeah, that's where he travelled to. So when I meditate for like 15 to half an hour, then those are the kind of things that I think about. If I don't think about anything, then I'll probably do it for a short amount of time. But this is what I've learned. This is what I like to visualise. I'd like some nice feedback. If you can give me it, then that'd be good. If you can't, then that's just the way it is. I know little bits about Buddhism, but I don't know everything. But yeah, so